on your screen. You can just accept that message. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Welcome everyone. Thank you, brothers and sisters, everybody, parents and young people alike. Thank you for joining us on this special presentation that we have, this interactive webinar that we scheduled about apprenticeships. We're now ready to begin, inshallah. And I just want to put some context to Al-Noor Foundation. For those of you who haven't heard about us, alhamdulillah, Al-Noor is a registered charity that has been running for the best part of over 25 years. One of our major flagship projects is the Al-Noor VA voluntary aided primary school based in the east of London. Then we had a number of projects that we do, one of them being the Careers Project. We have a youth program. We have a number of events such as the fun run and the boat race and the family festival, etc. and so on. So our hope is to make as wide an impact as possible to as many people as possible. And that's why we're delivering this Careers Project. So this Careers Project was really born out of a request from our alumni students. You know, they saw that the schools in many areas are introducing cost-saving measures, and usually the department that goes first is your careers advisor in colleges and schools. So often what we find now is that the college and schools, their careers advisors are somebody who's part-time and who does this on the side and doesn't have the specialist experience in this field. Alhamdulillah, we have that here within Al-Noor with Dr. Arshad, who I'll introduce to you in a few minutes, inshallah. And therefore, as parents, we're stuck as to what we advise our children. We end up, advising them what we used to do 20 or 30 years ago when we were at university. And the marketplace has changed, the workplace has changed, the options in terms of education and career pathways is very different to what it used to be 10, 15, 20 years ago. And so we end up maybe giving advice to our young people that is out of date or not really relevant, or we're not giving them the best advice that can really stand them in the best industries that looking forward in the next 10, 20, 30 years are really going to have a standing. So with that in mind, we set up the Al-Noor Careers Advice Service. What we do is we provide a bespoke one-to-one careers guidance with Dr. Arshad, and he works with the family, with the parents and the children, especially on a one-to-one basis, to really look at their career, look at what they're dealing with, what is it that they need assistance in, whether it be from GCSEs all the way up to universities and beyond, employment, interview techniques, etc. One of them is the very much in demand apprenticeship guidance that he provides. Alhamdulillah, he has over 30 years of experience in this field, helped hundreds, if not thousands of people progress in their career and in their development. With Al-Noor alone, he's helped dozens of people already get onto the apprenticeship program and find real options and network with to provide your children with a safe guidance. And obviously with all Al-Noor projects, we are very sensitive to providing advice that fits within our deen and which pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So you have that sort of assurance with us being involved, inshallah. So you'll find more details on our website by visiting alnoor.co.uk, al-noor.co.uk, about our apprenticeship support, as well as all of the other projects that we do offer, inshallah. We'll mention a little bit more about how you can utilize Dr. Arshad's services later on in the webinar, but I think now it's the best time to introduce him. So Dr. Arshad, assalamu alaikum, welcome, and thank you for being here.
As-salamu wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair, Dr. Arshad. I think you have a presentation ready for us, as well as we'll give an opportunity, I think, after the end around for people to ask any questions. So those of you parents and children, young people, do have questions, please just write them down. And then at the end, we'll give you an opportunity to ask your questions and raise your virtual hand to be able to answer those, inshallah. So Dr. Arshad, over to you. Jazakumullah khair.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah ma ba'd. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you, Akhtar Bhai, for the introduction, inshallah. And a very warm welcome, alhamdulillah, to everybody, mashallah, this evening for joining us. I'm really, really pleased, and I'm equally making dua, inshallah, that everybody will benefit and find this webinar very, very beneficial, inshallah. I hope you will. And it's a short presentation, inshallah, 15, 20 minutes. And then I really wanted to give yourselves an opportunity to ask any questions. If we have parents amongst us, you're most welcome to ask. Likewise, if we have students, equally, please don't be shy. Ask anything you like. And if you feel you want to have a one-to-one, inshallah, or even you wish to email me your questions later, I'm going to give you the details for that as well, inshallah. So without any further ado, let's commence, inshallah. So today, alhamdulillah, we're talking about the apprenticeships, as you know. So what are apprenticeships? Apprenticeships really are a job that you apply to. And part of the job, one of the great benefits is around 20% of the time within that job, you spend doing a course. So this may be a course in college, a training center, for instance. It may be at university even. It may well be even kind of like a bachelor's or a master's level degree at university, even up to that level. And I'm going to go through those in much detail as we progress, inshallah. So one of the key aspects, as I mentioned, is please bear in mind 80% of the time is spent with an employer. So you are literally applying for a job yourself. You're the person who applies, not your teacher, not your parent. It is yourself that's applying, and you are the one who's going to be held responsible in terms of your work commitments, inshallah, like any other work, any other employee, and an employer kind of relationship. So bear that in mind. And then 20% of that time, as I mentioned, is spent on a training course that your employer will arrange for you. So the first point is you obviously earn a wage, and it can be a handsome wage. It can be a good wage that you earn. And it depends really on the level of apprenticeship you're doing and also what prerequisites you have. So what kind of qualifications do you carry? Is it, you know, you have GCSEs and you want to go into an apprenticeship? Is it A levels and after you want to go into an apprenticeship? Or is it a degree you have and you want to join an apprenticeship? So it really depends on your career and where you are at the moment. So you work for at least 30 hours a week, and this may be a little bit less than 30, a little bit more than 30. Again, it depends on the level of apprenticeship you join. But the statutory requirements in England, part of the government requirements is that that employer must allow you, part of your contract and training is to go into a college or a university or a training center, as I mentioned, to do your course. And that's really the pleasing aspect of it, alhamdulillah. And that's what really makes the difference between the apprenticeship or just doing a degree or working. So you study towards a job and a related qualification. And part of that qualification that you gain, it is also statutory requirements, as I'm sure all of you know, that you are going to be sitting exams and taking tests. So it's quite a lot of responsibility. It's not straightforward, it's not easy, but you have to sit exams, you have to put in the work and really work hard, alhamdulillah, towards this. Also, you have a contract of employment as part of an apprenticeship. Like any other person who applies for a job and then gains successfully the access to that job, similarly, you'll get holiday pay. You'll get statutory sick leave, for instance, and any other benefits that employers get, the apprenticeship or the apprentice also gets as well. So similarly, if you're not performing well in your job, for instance, then there are consequences. You know, you'll be called in and your manager may say, look, you're not really pulling your weight in the job, or you're arriving late, you have time management concerns, etc. So it's really, really important if you're going for an apprenticeship of any level that you will be given a contract and you must abide by the rules and regulations like any other employee would do. And also, it is a real job, as I have already mentioned, and it carries responsibilities, as we've learned as well. So being on time, alhamdulillah, you know, working in teams, taking responsibility for the work, making sure that tasks are completed on time. And along with that, please bear in mind, then you're doing the course as well. So what are the expectations of teachers and your professors, for example? You know, have you done the assignments? Have you been really diligent in your timing for those assignments? Have you attended the course? You know, and etc. etc. And there's assessments which you must complete. So alhamdulillah, bear that in mind when you're applying for apprenticeships. Now, the apprenticeships are at various levels, as you can see. So primarily from level 2 to level 7. And the level that you join really would be dependent upon where you are currently in your life, and what qualifications, for example, you already have. So if you look at the level 2, for instance, this is an intermediate apprenticeship. It's called an intermediate apprenticeship, equivalent to 5 GCSEs, 9 to 5 kind of grades. So kind of like A star to C in the old system. So if you have GCSEs, for instance, 5 of them, and you wanted to do an apprenticeship, then you would go on to do the A-level equivalent apprenticeship, which is the level 3, which is called the advanced apprenticeship. This is equivalent to 2 A-levels, and it takes 2 years to complete this as an apprentice. So if, for instance, you are already in 6th form or college, and you're doing your A-levels, or you're doing your BTEC national diploma, etc., then you would go on to what is called the higher apprenticeship, which is really ranging from 4 to 7, as you can see from this slide. Now, 4 and 5 is called the higher level apprenticeship, and this can take around 4 to 6 years to complete, and I'll talk a little bit more about that a bit later. So the higher level apprenticeship, levels 4 to 7, equivalent to foundation degree level plus. Now, foundation degree, some of you may know, is 2/3 of a bachelor's degree in this country. So that's the equivalence, just to give you an idea. And if you wanted to go for level 6, for instance, say you have A-levels already, you've done 3 subjects, you've got wonderful results, and you wanted to apply for an apprenticeship, you would then do the degree apprenticeship, which is the level 6, and get into a bachelor's degree of your choice, the subject of your choice. And what university you would go to is really dependent upon your employer. So say, for example, you know, you were thinking about journalism and your A-levels were protruding to journalism, and then you did a degree apprenticeship in journalism. It depends the company you apply to, where that company is based, and which university they would actually have links with, because they would actually send you to that particular university to do your degree in journalism. Some of our attendees today, if you have already got a bachelor's degree, so you've got a BSc or a BA in a particular subject, and you wanted to do a master's level apprenticeship, well, alhamdulillah, you can do that also, which is a level 7. So a level 7 apprenticeship is also available in many, many subject areas. And that's for somebody who already has a bachelor's degree and they want to go on to a master's. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the funding, etc., a little bit later on for yourselves as well. Suffice to also say that the level 2 and 3 on our chart here is the most popular. So it's students after GCSEs wanting to do A-levels, or A-level kind of equivalent apprenticeship, sorry, or students who may not have GCSEs and want to do a level 2 intermediate apprenticeship, inshallah. Now, I wanted to show you this. This one is also very, very popular. It's the higher and degree level apprenticeship, and what it means and how, for example, can we compare this to a university degree, for instance? Well, taking on really this kind of apprenticeship, a degree level apprenticeship, level 6, is very, very challenging indeed, because you can imagine if you're a student and you're a full-time student, you go to university to do your degree, there's a lot of stress on that by itself anyway, because, alhamdulillah, you are looking to complete your assignments, you're making sure your dissertation is done, you attend classrooms and the lessons on time, etc. So that's a lot of burden on itself. Now, if you combine that with work also, you can imagine the amount of effort and work you'd have to do. So you're working, as I mentioned, 80% of the time, and 20% of the time then you are going to university to do your program. When you do the program at university, it could be a block release, for instance, just 1 day a week, or it may be 2-3 days in a week. The employer has allocated certain amounts of time for you, that 20% that we've been talking about, for you to go to university over 2-3 days, say 2-3 hours each day. And it depends on how the university has allocated the course to you as well. So obviously be ready and prepared for that. One of the greatest advantages of a degree apprenticeship is obviously you're learning. You are working and you're learning, meaning you're getting a salary, alhamdulillah, and it's a very good salary that you're getting as part of that work, and you're getting your degree completed. Now, that degree that you complete, it may take 4 to 6 years to complete. Why? Because obviously it's not full-time. It is a part-time degree, and it may take around 4 to 6 years, depending on the subject area. But the greatest benefit, which is the major attraction for many, many people to do the degree or higher apprenticeship, is there will be no debt. So there will be no university debt for you. And that's a really good, excellent, opportunity, alhamdulillah, because when you are working and you're doing the degree, that degree is paid for by your employer and the government combined. So it's one of the major attractions why people do this, because they don't really want to get into debt or get a student loan, etc. You also, even though you're a part-time student, become part of the National Union of Students, the NUS, and that itself carries benefits. So one of the benefits is, you may get, reductions or discounts in particular restaurants or eateries. You might get discounts with books that you purchase, for instance, or discounts in clothing houses and things like that. So you can avail the opportunity whilst you can by, using your NUS card. And obviously you're getting wonderful, fantastic experience and, completing both work and degree at the same time. One of the ways that you would decide, I would say, whether, the degree apprenticeship is more feasible, more agreeable to you, or, just a straight access into university after A-levels, is to do a comparison. So what I'd like you to think about, for those people especially interested in this, is do a comparison tonight and just look at, if you did a degree on itself, 3 or 4 years full-time, what would you gain and what would you lose? For instance, if you did a degree, then obviously after that you have to look for work. And we know about the labor market trends, and it might be very, very challenging for you or anybody, subhanAllah, to be getting a foot in the door, so to speak, with a good employer. Or compare that with just working, for example. If you're just working and you decide, well, I really want to do a course as well, compare that, to, for example, the degree. If you're just working, it becomes extremely difficult to get into some kind of course. Even if you do the course, say on an evenings or a weekend, you're paying for it. So think about the pros and cons of that. And the third comparison would be, think about the apprenticeship, wherein you are in work almost full time, and 20% of that time you're spending getting training with a provider outside. So that's how I always advise students, look at the 3 categories, just doing a degree, just working, or an apprenticeship, and compare them and see what suits you better. Another very important thing I'm going to talk about later as well is the concept of research. It's really, really important. Anybody interested in apprenticeships, you need to start your research as soon as possible. Never, ever delay. For instance, if you are an A-level student now, you should be researching now, for instance, what subjects am I doing? Will they allow me to get into an apprenticeship? Will they allow me to get into university? What options do I have? And there's no such thing as, it's too late or it's too early. Every one of you interested in apprenticeships needs to start looking at that straight away. And the good news, as mentioned on this slide, there are 100+ universities currently offering and taking on students apprenticeships. And many of these are Russell Group universities, so the elite universities as well. So look at the comparisons, as I mentioned, alhamdulillah. Also, very important to mention, the subject areas for those degrees are hundreds literally at the moment. So for instance, they range from law, an apprenticeship in law, which takes around 6 years to complete through the law university. There's apprenticeships in medicine. If anybody's interested in medicine, rather than going through the conventional route and really, competitive kind of route for medicine or dentistry, there is that option. Subjects like cybersecurity, like engineering, like accounting. So many apprenticeships are actually available at the moment. And part of the statistics, alhamdulillah, is that over 90% of students who do the degree level apprenticeship, 90% of them end up staying and working for that company. And needless for me to say, the remainder 10% kind of leave because they feel it's not been the right choice for them. So either they've chose the subject wrong or the employer was not appropriate. So 90% is a very high rate, alhamdulillah, of success. So what are the delivery modes? We've already spoken about this on this chart. 80% of the time in work, 20% of the time doing your course and training or university. And the delivery modes, it can be workplace learning, which means that sometimes the training provider will come to your work to train you. And there are many companies who are doing that and have excellent relationships with educational institutions, and those teachers, tutors, professors come to the workplace and teach. It may be classroom kind of learning, where you have to go and attend the classroom. As I mentioned, you do assessments, exams, etc. And that kind of mode of learning is the most prominent one. Also, you have online learning. Many employers will give you time off so you can do your online course. So that's prevalent as well, obviously, to attend college and a training provider as well. And as I mentioned earlier on as well, please bear in mind, when you're doing an apprenticeship, you're working, alhamdulillah, and you're doing the course. Part of the course, please bear in mind, there is a lot of work to be done on that course, as I keep saying. You are attending lectures, there's classroom lessons, there's online learning. You must balance all of this together. So you being a person of dexterity, it's really important to have this in mind, that you're almost taking on two roles rather than somebody just working, alhamdulillah. Now, the range of apprenticeships available, I've listed some here just for you to look at, ranging from accounting, for example, somebody who wants to do AAT, teaching, for example, if you're interested in QTS, your qualified teacher status. You may be interested in dental nursing, so you want to join the NHS. What about aviation, for example, for join BA, British Airways, or RAF, aerospace, Airbus, fantastic opportunities. I was just looking at local opportunities where I am residing, and where I am residing, we have EasyJet as the hub. And there's so many vacancies there in EasyJet, subhanAllah, for anybody who's interested in aviation, for instance. You've got hospitality, catering, hotels, restaurants, cafes, or even horticulture. If you're interested in plants, etc., you may want to do a horticulture apprenticeship, surveying, hairdressing, beauty therapy, for example, as part of hairdressing, etc., and legal services, as we've listed there. I mean, with legal services, we've had fantastic success of some of our students, going on to do the law degree. So they've joined a law firm and doing the law degree, which is the level 7, and it takes 6 years to complete. And as I mentioned here, there are many others. This is just a really small fraction of the range of apprenticeships that are available. So really look at this critically and carefully, inshallah, and see what you're interested in, inshallah. Now, one other very important thing to mention, as you can see from this slide is that any company you join, say, for example, you join Rolls-Royce, for instance, and the immediate kind of picture that conjures up in your mind for Rolls-Royce is they build, you know, fantastic cars, expensive cars, luxury cars. And, you know, somebody may want to do cybersecurity. Why would you want to join Rolls-Royce? Well, the fact is, with any company that you join, whether it's Rolls-Royce or whether it's to do with ITV or Sky News or any company that you join, they have all of these departments that I've listed here. So look, you know, Rolls-Royce has IT department. They have data analytics department. They have a sales department, marketing, finance, legal, customer services. So any apprenticeship that you're interested in, you can actually join any large company as long as they offer that apprenticeship and be part of that company. So always think and look at the bigger picture. Every large company will have loads and loads of departments. Even if you're interested in finance and you wanted to do, you know, wanted to join Rolls-Royce, they have the finance department. So that you could apply there, for instance. So the choice is endless, in other words, and every single company has so many of the departments that you may be interested in, inshallah. A list of some of the companies and some of the names that you will recognize here, you know, are large companies that I'm sure you're aware of. One of the advantages of large companies is that, you know, they have kind of their offices internationally, and you may get the opportunity to even travel. So that could be one of the great advantages with large companies to do an apprenticeship. Wherein, if you join a small company, that also has many advantages. For example, as part of Al-Noor career service, we've allocated certain apprenticeships to students who really wanted to stay local within the area because of travel concerns, don't want to be far away from the family, don't want to spend money traveling. So why not join an apprenticeship in your high street, a firm on your high street, or a small company, or even a shop? So that is all possible. So don't think just about these large companies that we've listed here. And every single one of these offers apprenticeships, you know, from Pets at Home to Google to Sky, Jaguar, alhamdulillah, BMW. So, you know, if you're fond of traveling and you don't mind, alhamdulillah, you can join these. But if you want to stay local, there are many, many local providers for apprenticeships at various levels that you can look at and investigate, inshallah. Now, how to register and apply. One of the things I mentioned before I just dwell into this is you need to do your research, as I mentioned, and it's really, really important, the research aspect. Look at what you're doing now, see what level of qualification you have, see how the apprenticeship could benefit you at that level that you're at, consider the subject areas you're interested in, and write them down. Say to yourself, is the degree route better for me, or university or college or sixth form, or is the apprenticeship route better, as I was mentioning? Compare the two with yourself, yeah, and see and speak to your parents or your spouse, etc., and ask yourself these questions: which would be better in the long run for myself? Bear in mind that you need to have an up-to-date CV and a personal statement always ready. And as part of Al-Noor services, alhamdulillah, the career service, we help with that. And we help with mock interviews and things like that. And we help with the application procedure if you need any assistance. So it's really important. My advice is that your CV should be really up to date and your personal statement always ready, alhamdulillah. And it doesn't matter what level you're at, whether you're a GCSE student, A-level student, completing A-levels at sixth form, you're just completing your degree, you know, always convenient to have your CV ready, because you don't know the time and the place where you'll be applying. Speaking of applying also, the apprenticeships, they are throughout the year. So alhamdulillah, you can apply throughout the year, and it's always better to apply to as many as you can, yeah, through these kind of websites that I've mentioned, to give yourself the maximum opportunity where you need to apply to many apprenticeships. Because remember I said, there's an interview, 1 or 2 interviews, in fact. There's the job application form that you need to complete. There are references that you need to have ready. All of this takes time, alhamdulillah. So we need to get, in order to get the best opportunity, alhamdulillah, for that apprenticeship, we need to do our research. We need to continuously look at what's available for us, inshallah. Also very important to say, it's very, very competitive, the apprenticeship world. And it's exactly like, applying for a job. When you are applying for a job, I know some of you may have, and you're continuing on this process, some of you may be in a job, you know the challenges that you had to face. And the apprenticeship is no different. Whatever level you're applying, keep in mind, hundreds of people will be applying across the country. There are people that I know that have relocated for apprenticeships, like they relocate for a job. So you may go from one city to another city because you've had a fantastic opportunity for an apprenticeship. So you should be ready for that, inshallah. So a couple of websites here. Amazing Apprenticeships is something I'd like you to look at. There are fantastic opportunities there, and a list of apprenticeships. The Institute for Apprenticeships is another one. Really, really fantastic opportunities there as well. They update all of the information quite regularly. The gov.uk, very important. They have a system where you can get, alhamdulillah, get various information delivered to your mobile phone, etc., inshallah, and they'll provide you the updates. So you can do that, and there's a number there as well. And also the apprenticeships.gov.uk also gives a lot of information about apprenticeships, the levels, how you can apply and where you can apply. And last but not least, I mentioned our service. We really help and assist in students, adults applying for apprenticeships. And also one of the things that we do that you might be interested in is we look at companies directly. So if you come to me and you need some assistance, we look at companies and see where those, job opportunities and apprenticeship opportunities and traineeship opportunities are, and then we help you to apply. Also, important for me to mention that if you're not sure the type of course or apprenticeship that you want to do, we are ultimately a careers guidance service. So we can help you look at the options that are best suited to you. We look at your strengths. We look at, alhamdulillah, the opportunities that will be available, like looking at the labor market trends for you. So, by all means, alhamdulillah, contact myself, and I've left my email there for yourselves as part of the Al-Noor and our website as well. So I'd be more than happy to receive you and help you with that as well, inshallah. So the discussion points we've looked at today, what are the benefits of completing an apprenticeship? I know one of the greatest benefits we mentioned is, you will not be in debt. Alhamdulillah, you're completing, for example, a degree apprenticeship, you're doing the course, the degree course, and you're working at the same time. And that's a great benefit besides other benefits. So what are the advantages of completing a higher end degree apprenticeship, and what do you achieve? So we looked at the advantages of higher end degree apprenticeships, and we said, alhamdulillah, better to do a comparison between just doing the course, just working, or just doing the apprenticeship, and see what suits you better. Where can you find apprenticeship vacancies? We've looked at that, alhamdulillah, today as well. And I've given you some food for thought on that through the websites for you to look at the vacancies, speak to the people directly, or come to Al-Noor Careers Service, and I'd be more than happy to receive you and help you, inshallah. So what are the benefits of starting your research early? And we said that now is the time to research, whether you're a GCSE student going into sixth form, whether you're completing your A-levels, or you're going into university, you need to do your research as a student. It's really, really important. Know the pros and cons. Know what's available. Know how best to apply. Know, for instance, that you may, for instance, be a little bit weak in your presentation, in your interviewing skills, in your CV. Get that help now. Now is the time to do that, inshallah. So, Jazakumullah khair. Last but not least, any questions, please ask, and I'll be more than happy to answer. And as I mentioned, if you want to ask me questions, you can email me also. Over to yourself, Akhtar Bhai, inshallah.
Yeah,
Jazakumullah khair.
Jazakallah khair.
Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Jazakallah.
Jazakallah khair. Excellent, Dr. Arshad. Really, very beneficial. Brilliant.
Barakallahu feek.
So, those who participants, this is your time to ask any questions you have. You can just raise your virtual hand, and then we'll let you come off mute if you have a question. And I also believe the chat box is now active. So if you have a question, you can pop it in there, and we'll try and ask your question. So Sakina asks a very good question. Is there a fee for the Al-Noor career service? There's a minimal fee. So you can book a session for £87, and that covers you for 3 workshop sessions, one-to-one sessions with Dr. Arshad. So all you need to do is just go to the website, and you can have a look at his calendar availability, or you could email him if a time doesn't suit you there. And the cost of the service is £87, and it covers you for 3 sessions. And we usually find within 3 sessions of a one-to-one session, we get you to a very close to conclusion of where you're looking to get to, or a concluding point. So that's our fee for the service, inshallah.
And just to add there, if I may, Akhtar Bhai, just to say that part of that service is doing mock interviews, CV preparation, your personal statement, the application form, looking at companies that are currently offering the opportunities for apprenticeship. So there's a lot of background work that we will help you with, inshallah. So you may require all of that assistance or just some. So we'd be more than happy, inshallah, to help you and assist you on that.
Yeah, perfect, great. Saif asks, are Al-Noor offering apprenticeships at the moment, or is it just support? No, ours is a careers guidance at the moment. So we don't have any internal apprenticeships available yet. Maybe something that we are looking towards. But our main service is to support young people in getting onto apprenticeships and through this service. Our school, Sakina asked, where is our school? Our school is based in east of London in Goodmays. And you could probably find us by just visiting our website, inshallah. Rumesa asks, Salam, do you have any advice for NHS degree apprenticeships starting in 2024 in the application process?
Jazakallah khair for the question. Our last webinar, sister, was based totally on NHS opportunities. So inshallah, the simple question is hundreds of opportunities in the NHS. And also important to say that each NHS locality offers different apprenticeships compared to another locality. So you need to, if you want to stay within your locality, then you need to find out from your local NHS what apprenticeship opportunities there are. If you email me, sister, I will give you some of the links as well that allow you to see and view what those kind of opportunities may be generally. But, you know, just in a nutshell, there's hundreds of opportunities across the NHS, and they really raise, you know, from the intermediate level right up to level 7, master's level. And it depends again on your background. If you don't have specific qualifications or skills related to the NHS, they also have opportunities for you, so you can join the NHS, you know, with what you have. So that's also a great benefit of joining the NHS, inshallah.
Yeah, perfect, great. Amir asks, Assalamu alaikum, how long does the application process take?
Wa alaikum assalam. Jazakallah khairan for your question. It depends on the company itself. Sometimes you can see a vacancy now and it closes in April, for instance, 2024. So you have loads of time to apply. And so once you complete the application form or you render your CV to them, they will get back to you. And usually it is 1 or 2 interviews that they conduct. And most likely they may take you on straight away if they've got the training provider ready for you, or it may be in September the following year. So that's why I say do your research and apply early. And I need to really stress upon this point to everybody. Apply to as many as you can, 10, 20, 30. You need to be very, very prepared for that. And sadly, be prepared for rejection. And don't worry about that, because you're going through a fantastic experience in applying and going through interviews. I know students who applied to 25, 27, and they got 2 or 3 offers, went to the interviews, Qadar Allah, they were not successful, but then ended up with just 1, for example. So it's really important. We need to give ourselves the maximum opportunity of application, inshallah.
Yeah, great, thank you. Brother, assalamu alaikum rahmatullah. If I have A levels, but they're not desirable, would it be beneficial to go for a level 3 apprenticeship, or must it be that I go for a level 4, level 4 and above?
Very good question. Jazakallah khair. When you do a degree level apprenticeship, that particular company will want certain A levels. So let's take an example, finance and accounting. They will ask for A levels in math or finance, and they will ask for a particular level of grade that you must obtain. Some companies may ask for 120 UCAS points, for instance. Others will ask for specific grades. So that is very, very important. We look at the prerequisites and the requirements for that company. So if you're joining a global company, very big accounting company, as just a crude example I'm giving, they will look at your A-level qualifications. If you don't meet them, then we have to step back, and it's a good idea to do the A-level equivalent apprenticeship first within that company, and then gradually move forward and up, alhamdulillah. So that may be the case sometimes. Just recently, I was speaking to one of my students, and it was exactly the same case, where he's not made the grades, and it's better to join the lower apprenticeship within that good company and then work your way up, inshallah.
Okay, great, thank you. Jazakallah khair. Which companies, Sahel asked, is best for cybersecurity?
Jazakallah khair for the question. Hundreds of companies there for cybersecurity. I couldn't say one particular company, because some of our students, in fact, many of our students have applied loads and loads of places for cybersecurity. They range from large companies to even small companies. So I would say, the choice for cybersecurity is huge and it's massive. And the questioner who's asking, on those apprenticeship links that I've sent, you'll find maybe at least 24 there of cybersecurity, opportunities at the moment. And then you can look at the companies. As I mentioned in the presentation, almost every company, needs cybersecurity personnel. So please look and see where the opportunities are. Look at companies directly or through, the government apprenticeship website. Type in cybersecurity and they will show you the availability, inshallah, and the levels.
Yeah, very good. And I think that goes, we've got another question similar about which one's the best for law, for apprenticeship, for law degrees. I guess it's the same, to have a look at the criteria and selection available.
That's right. The law degree apprenticeship, one of the best providers is called the University of Law. They do a level 7, but what it means is that the company you join must be willing to give you that training. So the challenge for the questioner is, we must apply to a law company that is then linked with the University of Law, and you're going to be doing that course for 6 years minimum. But what you get at the end of it, obviously, is a qualified lawyer. And that's something to be proud of, alhamdulillah. So, we need to see those providers, those organizations that are providing the apprenticeship in law, inshallah.
Great, thank you. Jazakallah khair. Seema asks, Assalamu alaikum, what are the age ranges for joining an apprenticeship?
They vary. As I mentioned, you may be a student who's completed GCSEs. So for instance, if I would say 16 plus really, for students who have not been successful in their GCSEs year 11, you may do the intermediate level, the beginners. So you're going to be 16. And apprenticeships go, for somebody who's 30, somebody who's 40, 45, they're absolutely open for everybody, inshallah.
Okay, great. And then a follow-up question from Adam. If I decide to go into a field which I have no experience in, which level of apprenticeship is most ideal?
Jazakallah khair for the question. It depends on your interest, and it depends on what kind of qualifications you have. and obviously the companies that are available to provide you that. So we're going to have to look at these three aspects to see. But if you're not sure, that is the questioner, on what you want to do, then I think we need to hold a careers guidance session to find out your options, inshallah.
Okay, and then Abdurrahman asks, Assalamu alaikum, I'm studying applied science. What apprenticeships can I look into? And also, how long is the one-to-one sessions that we book with yourself are?
What Jazakallah khair for the question. One-to-one sessions last between half an hour to 45 minutes each. And as Akhtar Bhai's mentioned, you have 3 of them, inshallah. And if you need to have more, we can look at that as well, alhamdulillah. With applied science, if you're thinking about any particular apprenticeships, we can type in applied science on those websites, and they will let you know all of the availability within that. Because you may want to stick with applied science, or go to any field that is maybe related to it or directly under applied science. So it depends on what your interests are, really, inshallah.
Okay, great. I think that's pretty much covered all of the questions in the chat box. And if you have any more questions, then you can raise your virtual hand. We can hear somebody's voice. Or if you're more prefer to just type your questions, you can. We'll give you another minute or so to do that. And then here we go. And the question from Amir: is the Cabinet Office a political apprenticeship? Because politics is my main interest.
It certainly is. Jazakallah khair for the question. The Cabinet Office is the government department. And I'm pleased to say, if you type in the Cabinet Office, when you have time on the website, it'll show you the apprenticeships available. So type in apprenticeships in the Cabinet Office or apprenticeships in local government or national government. And alhamdulillah, it'll show you all of the ones that are available. And mashallah, the choices are quite a lot. Depends on which time of the year you're applying. Also, for me to say something very important, as we speak now, alhamdulillah, in November, it's a great, great opportunity and time to apply, because the bulk of the vacancies are October, November, December, January, around this kind of time. So it's a great opportunity to start applying. And also, if you're thinking of applying to university, by all means, good luck, alhamdulillah, and apply. If you're thinking of apprenticeships, why not apply for both? Apply to university through UCAS and apply for apprenticeships and see, alhamdulillah, what you come up with. So there's nothing stopping you from applying to both, inshallah.
Yeah, very good. Excellent. Good. Jazakumullah khair. Ibrahim's asking, Ibrahim, if your question, if you want to email Dr. Arshad, I think he can support you on providing you with some of the slides that we had there present, inshallah. I'm sure he'll be able to share that with you. Okay, I think that's pretty much all of the questions that everybody had. And I'm just going to double check through my screen that there's no other questions. Oh, there is. There you go. Are there any apprenticeships which are geared towards digital esports content creation?
We would have to check and see, Jazakallah khair for your question. Again, the easiest way is through those links that I've given or through the internet. You can easily type in apprenticeships in that particular area. And if you have difficulty, email me and I can look at some of them for you as well, inshallah. But I do know that the apprenticeships are continuously growing, and there are hundreds and hundreds of subjects underneath that as well, because they're very, very common, alhamdulillah, and they're very much in demand. So I would say please check on those links or through the internet. If nothing comes up, get in touch with myself. I can have a look for you, inshallah.
Similarly, apprenticeships available in web design, Arshad, Dr. Arshad?
That's right. Graphics and web design, cybersecurity, these are very prominent ones. So definitely they're available. It's a matter of searching and looking, inshallah. But I have come across in the past.
Okay, excellent. Look, first of all, thank you all of you for attending and joining this session. We hope you found it beneficial and got something there that can help you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah in your career and enable you to be a benefit for the community and to give back to them. And thank you, Dr. Arshad, for your time and your impact and your diligence and your your love for
Jazakallah
the
khair.
community to really make a difference to young people. I really do appreciate your time today.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakumullah khair. And likewise, thank you so much for joining. And I really hope and pray for a very successful career for yourselves. Don't hesitate or be shy to get in touch. We would love to hear from you, inshallah. So thank you so much for joining.
Jazakallah khair, everyone. We'll end there. Thank you. And we'll speak to you very soon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.